many Magic the Gathering players treat bulk as an unfortunate consequence of playing the game. However, as the Magic Trash Man, it's my job to find value where there is none. And in today's video, I'm going to go through $100 worth of bulk and see what super cool, interesting cards I can find. So I didn't realize at the time how long it would take to sort around 8,000 cards. All I really did was sort them by color, pull out the rares, lands, and cards that weren't playable. But yeah, this took about 5 to 6 hours, so I think I got about 4 hours of it done on the first day, and we go into the second day. I changed clothes, and I just started going through the rest of them. All in all, lots of super cool cards that I found, and I wish I had a better way to show them all off, but at the moment, I'm not sure what the best way to do that is. I wanted to show the whole sorting process and what it looked like, and of course, I didn't really even finish in this video, but at least they're sorted by color. It's a start. I love finding cool new cards that I've never seen before, because I actually started playing Magic not that long ago. Alrighty. So the first card we're going to look at is Buluvian Horde. So this edition of Buluvian Horde that I got was originally printed in Deckmasters, Garfield vs. Finkel. We have the card on screen here as its TCG player listing. While the card's not worth a lot, it's a cool piece of history. This was actually made based on a tournament between Garfield and John Finkel. Richard Garfield being the creator of the game, and John Finkel being, I believe, the 2000 world champion. This deck was released in 2001, and was actually based on the decks they faced each other with. So, Buluvian Horde is a one-of in John Finkel's deck, which means that, although this card isn't very valuable, it's just a super cool piece of history that I'm a huge fan of, and I'm really happy to own one now. So I got a Mangoorm here, which I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but Mangoorm, if you don't know, came from Prophecy, and I do have the privilege of saying that I've seen it in one deck. Now, while I love pre-modern and I think it's super cool, Mangoorm is not a very playable card, just in the fact that it is a 4-mana 6/5 with a massive downside for you. So unfortunately, Mangoorm doesn't get as much attention as Buluvian Horde, but hey, it is what it is. So our next runner-up here is Beast of Burden. So Beast of Burden, unfortunately, doesn't have as many cool facts about it, so I'm just going to list the one that I know. It was originally printed in Urza's Legacy, and then got a reprinting in 7th, 8th, and 9th edition. As far as I'm aware, it might have had some others, but yeah, we got the 8th edition one. So this section is just a bunch of bulk rares. I guess this is, you know, when you get a bulk package, you sometimes get some rares. One of the first things I do when I'm sorting is sort out all the rares, and I had preemptively done this. I sorted out the cards that were worth more and worth less, and these are all of the rares that are worth under $1, I believe. So, yeah, there are some pretty cool finds in here, in a way, but, you know, these are the less playable cards, I guess you would say. There are still some really cool cards, like I really like that Zabaz, the Boros modular Wasp guy. There's a Nyx in there from, I believe it is Future Sight. I could be wrong about that. I hate Hoofprints of the Stag because I got the Bumbleflower Precon and it came in that, and I just can't imagine that the Bumbleflower, or sorry, Hoofprints of the Stag was good in any deck. Maybe it was, I don't know, but it just, like, didn't fit what I wanted to do with Miss Bumbleflower, so I completely changed the deck. Maybe I'll show it off. It looks very similar to Josh Leakwise, because I used that as bait. Okay, so now we're getting into the more valuable rares, starting with Broker's Ascendancy. So, Broker's Ascendancy is a generic value piece that adds a 1/1 counter on your end step to each creature, and a loyalty counter to each planeswalker you control. The reason the one we got is worth anything is because we actually got a Gilded Foil. You can feel the raised foil on it. It's kind of cool, but this card is actually fairly playable. I know it got play in the 2022 Magic World Championship. It was played in a Bant aggro deck by Drew Baker. Very cool. I love to see Bant getting more appreciation. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Gilded Foil is what makes it valuable. It's normally like an 80-cent card at most. So I'm just gonna be frank, Oben, Moldaya Ancestor, Zephi, Thunder Conductor, and Scourge of the, Scourge of the Skyclaves. Yeah, I don't know. They just make me a little sad, although they are worth more than $1. Scourge of the Skyclaves specifically because it is that foil borderless, and for no other reason. Alright, so we're going into the non-foil mythics and rares that are worth more than $1. Goblin Piledriver's super cool. I like that one. Teferi's Ageless Insight, everyone knows that from Commander. Cryptbreaker recently jumped up in value. I believe that was due to the Aether Drift Commander that everyone liked, but I can't remember his name. It's like Hazotep or Hashaton. And then you have a couple other cards I'm not as familiar with. I want to go over this one. So I come from Commander originally, and the truth is, this card is just so insane in Commander. It does all the green things you want to see normally. It also has seen insane amounts of play in Dual Commander, usually being ran in Azusa, Lost But Seeking. Oh, and a little aside, because I mostly emphasized its playability in Dual Commander, it's also super playable in Highlander, and sees a little bit of play in CEDH as well. And even Legacy, which is just absurd. This card is busted. I love it, and frankly, for the value of the card, like how much it costs, it is way better than its value. So we're gonna pass over a couple other cards here, and while they are cool and also, again, worth a little bit, the one I really want to highlight right here is the Dreamorn Muse. Now I think Dreamorn Muse is super cool. The one I pulled there was from 10th edition, which doesn't mean much. It was printed around 2007, and unfortunately this card doesn't see as much play as I think it could, which it just has such a cool effect. It's symmetrical, causing each player to mill cards equal to the number of cards in their hands, so if you care about graveyard synergy and are in blue, then this is a great card for your deck, especially in EDH. Now, while I wasn't around for the original printings of a lot of these sets, I was into the game and have drafted some of these more recent but still old sets, like, for example, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, and I don't know, I'm not as interested in some of these cards. A lot of these are very well known in Commander, but just aren't as big anywhere else. But the last one coming up is the one I want to highlight. This is our biggest pull from the bulk, which is a Nethroi Apex of Death. This is a borderless version of it. And yeah, I don't know, it's got a cool art variation too, which I thought was kind of cool. So we're just going to blast through some cards that I found that I thought were either cool or playable in other formats. I know you saw Balustrade Spy there, which is super good in Pop. Well, I don't know if I'd say super good in Pauper, but it's good in Pauper. It's a combo deck, and I don't know. It's very cool. But yeah, I don't know. These are just cards that I found that I was going to set to the side, and I was gonna probably store somewhere else. The reason I brought the cancels out was actually because a friend was looking for a copy, and I was like, okay, I'll pull them all out, and, you know, you can pick whatever art you like the best. We got some annuls, which are also pretty playable in Pauper, and it's just a kind of budget way to deal with counterspells in blue. It's super good if you're not willing to, you know, pay $14 for a Swan Song. And some other Commander staples are in here. A Consigned Memory, that's like, you know, $5 right now because it's kind of popping off in Modern, which is super cool, you know, always a cool find. And we had a couple other big bangers in there. I know Guttural Response is one of my favorite cards ever, and a couple Bolt Bends. So that's all I've got for today. I hope you enjoyed seeing me go through all my bulk, but I'll see you all next time. Bye.